There is indeed a way, a method that you can absorb the last juicy part of your cryptocurrency's explosive growth. I'm talking about absorbing every single cent that your coin has to offer you without adding any more risk to the table. And I truly do mean that. Sounds like a gimmick, sounds like an infomercial, but I really encourage you to watch the 15 minutes of this video to allow me to explain to you right now how it's possible to set up realistic sell levels in a safe way, do it with an actual plan, and absorb that very last bit of exponential growth. Most of these cryptocurrencies have a blow off top moment, okay? It's part of the game. And this is how people are able to turn a little bit into a lot. But in order for you to be able to make the life-changing gains you want and not have the fear of losing it all, having to take a chance at selling Cadena right at the very top, then this is a video you must watch. It is not for my benefit. It is not for my neighbor's benefit. It is for your benefit alone. So with that being said, make sure if you do want more of this content to hit a like button down below. And I really encourage you, if you learn something new, to do that. It does help support all I do. And make sure you're subscribed, guys. That's going to allow you, of course, make the most of this bull run. I've made a recent video on exiting cryptocurrency, but I never really went into the depth I am today with actually trying to absorb the most amount of money possible. It's sort of a recent discovery, and I want to give a very big shout out with credits due to Bill from the private community. Without Bill, without our discussions in that private community, I wouldn't have even come across this myself. So that's why it definitely pays to be in either my group or a group. I think most sell plans start with people saying, hey, if Bitcoin hits 200K, 300K, or some arbitrary number, sell everything. That's a very bad idea in my opinion, because you're singling an entire portfolio to one price prediction. How bad does that sound? Most of us aren't even convinced with a price prediction on a coin like Render, let alone Bitcoin, and then applying it to your whole portfolio. So don't do that. I think generally speaking, it's always good to make sure that the macro global economy and the markets around the world, the nation states, they're in good order. There are cracks, of course, but I think overall right now it's very positive, which is why I believe that things are going to track just normal. We're probably going to even have the biggest next 12 months we've ever had in crypto before. The most money coming in, the most attention. And I could be wrong. And if you're listening to this and you disagree, get off the video right now, because obviously you need to be out of the market. Why are you in a market you don't believe is going to go up? So get out, catch you later, okay? But just like it is being in the gym, and if your goal in the gym is to get a six-pack, but you weigh 300 kilos, but you can bench 500 kilos, you're a machine, right? But your goal is to have abs. You're never going to get abs unless you get in the kitchen and start eating clean, and you are in a calorie deficit. It's all built in the kitchen. So just like that, the money's actually made, right? The abs are made for us in our altcoins, and therefore actually in sell levels like this. However, today, I'm going to introduce to you a way in which you can maximize your gains, so still have the sell plans, still have everything I've mentioned to you in these particular exit plan videos, but I've never covered this little unlock here. And I want to get to that in just a second, because what I'm going to teach you is basically this: setting up and showing you the true power of an important tool we can use here on any major exchange called trailing stop loss. I firmly believe this is the only way you can squeeze out that top percent of any of your assets. Okay, no one knows when the top's going to be in for our altcoins. That's why we have these things in the private community called the GGR zones, the green, gray, and red zones. Liquid zones and not so liquid zones. But if we can get most of our sell levels out in the green zone, aka in the zone where we're likely going to still have a market of buyers and sellers, so when we start selling, people are going to still be buying, guess what? We can leave some on the table for these higher levels for when price goes like parabolic like this. So we can make even more money. And that of course means we can buy the Lambo. So in this video, I'm going to give you 3 sell plans. The last sell plan here is the true maximalization of this plan. The first one here is a more basic one, but we'll be using the same example in all these 3, which is buying near protocol at an average price of $3.45. And at $3.45, we spend about $4,500 and we buy 1,300 tokens. And our goal is to basically almost 9x this, is to go from $3.45 and sell at an average of $30. So again, for everyone in the back that missed it, we're selling near protocol at an average of $30 and we bought in at $3.45. Pretty simple. We're making about 40K revenue. So this first example here is a pretty generic sell plan that we like to apply to all of our altcoins in the private community and even those of you here watching on YouTube. The goal here is to ensure that we have early sell levels, we hit our average sell price. Again, we're aiming for $30, and we don't have too many sell levels above $30. And the reason you're going to have some sell levels and some prices above is because you can't sell low without selling some above the intended sell price. So for example, we have 5 sell levels here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We start selling at $20, which is 33% minus risk, which pretty much means we begin selling at 33% lower than that $30, which is very safe, which is very good. We sell 5% of our portfolio here. So level 2, we've got at $27, which we have 10% of our portfolio sold, which is 10% lower than our actual intended sell price. Then we sell at $30, which we sell a chunk at, which is about 35%. Okay, and then we have to sell some above, but you can see here we only go as high as 10%. So we squeeze 2 sell levels here, just above our intended sell price, because of course any price you sell above the intended sell price you want to get out of is almost technically unnecessary risk. Essentially, if you sell too high above your average sell price, the argument is, why not just sell everything at that sell price? Forget selling lower, because the minute that you start selling lower, this actually drags down the price you intend to get out of, right? Near protocol, we need to get out of an average of $30. So the minute that you start adding in these low sell levels here, this starts dropping and dropping and dropping. So to counteract that, you have to have some sell levels above to, like a seesaw, even it out. Again, the issue is, and the sort of argument is that if you have too high sell levels here, or you have more of your portfolio up here than down here, why not just forget about the extra risk and just sell everything, your entire 100% of your portfolio on that mark? And like I said, it's a fair point. That is why it's so important for us to use these very, very good sell plans that we've spent a lot of time creating and actually sell no more than about 10% risk on the very, very high side. So for us in this example, it's selling near protocol here at a maximum of $33. And honestly, if you ask me, this plan is really, really good. We're starting here with about $4,500. We end up with just under $40,000, which actually we're making an extra $400 more than our goal of $39,000. It's not a perfect sell plan, but for the argument of this video, it's great. The one thing it's missing is a bit more profit here by sell level 2, but that's a different conversation for a different video. Needless to say though, this will cover like most people in crypto. Most people aren't doing this, and I think that last sell level being still a very realistic number, just above the average sell price, is great. But again, we're not taking advantage of what crypto is known for, these massive explosive growths. On a chart like Cardano, maybe this happens with Near Protocol. Maybe Near Protocol's $30 sell levels like down here, or with Solana, maybe it's down here. And we get out nice and safe, and we've got no problems. But again, there's like a little bit on the table still. So what we can do to actually squeeze that out of the market, but do so in a safe way, is by using a tool that Coinbase and Binance and most of these exchanges have on offer, which is called a trailing stop. Now, looking at this, it's quite confrontational. You feel overwhelmed, and I get it, right? When something isn't easily understood, you want to forget about it and not worry about it. But trust me when I say this is going to be important for you to try and learn, especially right now. Okay, so essentially how this works, and what you're looking at on your screen, this green line right here, is sell level 6 with a trailing stop target price of $34.74. We can kind of round up maybe to $35, but the reason why I've got it as $34.74 is because the math behind this with a 5% delta is essentially that when price on Near Protocol eventually goes up to hit this new sell level, this trailing stop of $34.75 and hits this, we're not actually selling out at $34.75 at this green zone. What's happening is this protocol is waking up and saying, hey, what we're now doing is we have a specific percentage called the delta that me, Kyron, has predetermined that once price hits $34.75, we are going to begin a point that follows price by 5% lower. And if price comes down by 5%, it'll take you out of the market. And so I want to show you what this actually looks like. So again, price is coming up and up and up. Price is going nice and up. Let's say price comes back every now and again, and then it comes up and down and up and down and up. And this initial starting price here was $34.75. So again, that's that magic number that we have set over here to begin that initial trailing stop price. Or technically, it's the target price, this entry price over here. And so what this looks like is once this is hit, this mechanism starts whereby that predetermined percentage, in our case, we're going to use 5%, it's also called, again, the delta, starts tracking behind the price. So again, it's tracking by 5% lower. And so it follows price. When price goes up, it keeps going up. But when price comes down, what it does is it actually stalls. So when price hits a peak over here and it starts coming down, it just stalls. And if price comes down, again, it just stays there. If it doesn't touch the line and price goes up again, what the trailing stop does is it follows up with price. Once price goes above this marker again, so it hits this point, it starts following it again by 5%. It comes down, it stalls. Comes back up, it goes up. Comes down, it stalls. It's only when price falls down by 5% and hits that trailing stop price, again, in our case, it's falling down by minus 5%, does it actually sell? So initially, this is pretty cool because what this does is it allows you to take advantage of the top side, because ultimately what happens if you set a trailing stop here in this example and price never falls by 5%, where price just keeps going up and up and up. It's different to these levels because these levels we say, hey, if price comes up to that point, we're selling out. Price is being sold as soon as it hits that level. But what we're doing with this new one over here is we're saying price starts being tracked when it hits this level. Only when it falls down by a certain percentage, that's when we get out. The reason why we start at 5%, the reason why I mark this as like 5% above $33 is because if this price hits and it falls down by 5%, we're going to get out at this extra 12.5% at this level here. So we'll sell our whole 25% here, okay? Which means that we're back in square one. We're actually back at this initial sell plan here. So nothing's bad at all. It's just like, again, a possibility of free money. So the risk and reward is very favorable for us to do this. So this is, of course, great because what happens if a 5% pullback doesn't happen until like whatever it may be, like 51 or $52, and then you get out at like $50. Okay, so you're selling 12.5% now at $50. Okay, so that's an extra $3,000 on top of your goal of $39,000. So you're making a lot of money. Again, that is give or take about 10% extra money you're making. So if you're looking at making $1 million, that's an extra $100,000 on your position. It's huge. So just remember though, in this example, and what I would recommend to do in this particular plan here is ensure the delta is 5%. 5% is a pretty decent number. It's not too high. It's not too low. You don't want to make it too low. And so, of course, that just means that it's the callback rate. So when price falls down by 5%, it takes you out of the market. If price never falls down that 5% or that delta and just keeps going up, you will always just keep going up and up and up. It's a win-win. But like I said, we can actually take this one step further and we can add in a second trailing stop. So we break up that last 12.5% here again, and I'm going to put 7.5, so a little bit more in that first level. But this time I'm going to also add a 10% delta as well, which is 10% above this. So again, the whole idea is that if price goes up and hits this number here, the worst possible case is that both of these will be out and they'll essentially sell us out around here. So we'll have 25% here. So we're back to square one again. So again, that's like a worst possible case. But now given that we have 10%, the reason I've got moonshot here is that we have this last level that needs the price to pull back 10% to get out. So this is truly moonshot because essentially a 10% pullback is much more significant than a 5%. A 5% pullback for Near Protocol isn't actually all that much, nor is it for any altcoin. 5% pullback is going from $35 down to give or take about $33. It's not that much. Whereas a 10% is much more substantial, 35 to 31. So while that can still happen, again, this allows much more violent pullbacks to happen on the way up, which means that you might pretty much get out of the coin around the very, very top here on the actual final pullback that does occur at the very end. So like literally you're just letting it run. And again, you're going to get out no matter what. So in this case with Near Protocol, maybe the 5% delta, maybe the 5% trailing stop here might go to like $45, $50. And this next one, because it's got more flexibility, might be able to skyrocket to 80 or more. So like $5,000 in this example, which is like 12% of your portfolio you didn't have before, by just letting the safety net here guide you, and these coins go to the moon. Now, there is a situation, of course, where you actually don't have these sell levels being hit. Like I explained before, let's just pretend that price is going up and up and up and up and up. It hits, the price here of $33 and then comes down. So it pretty much lands us here. We have all these first 5 sell levels hit, and you panic because price starts pulling back quite hard, almost like this pullback down here for Solana. And you're thinking, oh, well, this could be the end. You start panicking, right? Let's say you panic sell down here. At the end of the day, even if you panic sell like way, way down here, and let's say that 12.5%, you end up selling out down here, so 47.5%, you're only losing $65. On a portfolio that's worth $38,900, that's not that bad at all. And let's say like worst case, you let price continue to fall well beneath your average sell price of $30, and it just keeps going and going, and you end up selling here at your second sell level. Well, in this case, it's not even that bad at all, right? 22.5%, so you end up selling all your coins here that you had at the top. You're only losing $550, and that is not much considering the portfolio here is getting you $38,000 in total revenue. So if you scale this up, if you have a massive portfolio, right, let's say you're dealing with $390,000, you'd only be losing $5,000. So like $390,000, $5K is substantial, but for the size of that position, it isn't that much. So you can see why, like worst possible case, the risk and reward is substantial. The reward is making a lot more money. The risk is losing a tiny amount. You're still making money. This is just like moonshots. So I would really encourage everyone watching this video to really learn trailing stops. And it's very simple. Like once you begin just learning a bit about it and going into Binance or Coinbase and setting a few of these up, you'll be like, wow, this is simple to do. So let me know if you struggle with this and I can make a further video on it. Like, what are you concerned with? What do you need me to help you out with understanding this concept? And I'll, again, give you a hand on that. Just type it on YouTube or Google, like how to set up trailing stop losses in crypto on Binance or on Coinbase, and you will find videos that are very, very helpful that aren't really my type of videos. I don't do tutorial videos on that, but I can definitely add it into a video if need be. I'll talk to you all soon. Take care out there. Make the most of the bull run while we have it, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.